Hello and welcome to another edition of Chesapeake Hockey Week. I'm your host, Scotty Wazz. How are you guys doing? We're getting down to the end of it, the nitty-gritty for Music City, as we got things going on as we roll into playoffs this weekend, and some playoffs already started as I record this on Thursday night, but we'll get to those in due time. We're going to start off with the ladies of Navy and Maryland taking on each other for the last part of the weekend or of the regular season for the DVCHC. Both these teams will move on to the playoffs this coming weekend up in Aston. We will tell you where they shape out when all is said and done. So we get to it on Friday, and it took only 22 seconds before Tess Clark gets on the board. Unfortunately, the broadcast got started a little late, and in those 22 seconds missed the goal from Tess, but it's her 20th of the year. Chloe Haynes, 9th assist. Navy up 1-0, but don't worry, there'll be more scoring in this one. In fact, a minute and change later, Abby Sears gets her 5th of the year. Kept in at the line, a great keep, and just wristed it from the point. Goes through traffic, eludes everyone, and Sears gets her 5th of the year all alone, and the Mids up 2-0. It would be past the midway point when Evelyn Zubak gets Maryland on the board, 13:04 into it. A solid takeaway at the blue line by Grace Wildberger, and she goes coast to coast with this one, puts a shot on, and Zubak is there for the rebound for her 7th of the year. Wildberger's 9th assist, 2-1. Navy would get that 2-goal lead back as Piper Adams gets a redirect off a B. Garvey shot off a face-off. Adams wins it back to Garvey. Garvey puts it on net, tipped in front for Adams' 4th of the year. Garvey, her 16th assist. Mids back up 3-1, which will be the score going into the second. But Maryland, they get 2 goals back-to-back with within 20 seconds of each other, 17 seconds to be for sure. First, it was Grace Wildberger, just a great play created by Carolyn Zubak. She powers down to the side, puts it on net. Wildberger there to put up the rebound, her 10th of the year. Carolyn Zubak's 4th assist of the season. Maryland cuts the lead to 1, and then, like I said, 17 seconds later, Carolyn Zubak gets on the board, her 7th of the season, to tying up a great board battle one down in the corner by Wildberger. Gets it out to Evelyn Zubak, gets it to her sister Carolyn. In the net it goes, 7th of the year for Carolyn. Evelyn gets her 4th assist of the season, Wildberger's 10th assist, and we are tied. But shortly after that, 32 seconds later, Navy gets the lead back. Abby Sears again. Piper Adams keeps it in, works it around the net, and then pats it in front, and that's where Sears was. Sears taps it in for her 6th of the year. Adams' 3rd assist. Mids go up 4-3, which is where it would be going to the third period, and then halfway through the third, Chloe Haynes puts the seals the deal on this one with her 10th of the year. A wraparound attempt by Anna Peterson, blocked. Haynes gets the rebound in front for her 10th. Peterson's 3rd assist. Tess Clark, 11th assist. Navy up 5-3, and that's where we would end it. Deanna Privroto with 18 saves in this one. Molly Hillier gets 35 saves in the defeat, and the Mids take game 1. And there's game 2. Always going to be a game 2 as the series goes, and Navy gets on the board first, 7:07 in. Riley Sherlock gets her 9th of the year off a Piper Adams first attempt. Sherlock there on the doorstep, shovels it in, her 9th. Piper Adams' 4th assist. Mids up 1-0. And late in the frame, though, Maryland would tie it up shorthanded as Nina Craven gets a shorthanded goal. A breakout attempt just got from Navy, just got kept in by Craven. Craven just puts it on goal, eludes the goaltender. In the net goes. We are tied up. In that second period, Kayla Deletto gets her 1st of the season. Tess Clark getting her 12th of the season. Off a face-off, a retention by Tess Clark. She takes a shot off the post, and then Deletto right there putting it into the yawning cage for her 1st of the year. Tess Clark's 12th assist. Mids up 2-1. It wasn't until 4:40 left in the frame when Grace Wildberger, who had a heck of a weekend, adds to it as she just gets behind the defense and goes forehand, backhand, goal light. And that's her 11th of the year, and we are tied up at 2. We would go that way through the third period, no scoring. And we get into OT and blink if you miss it. And luckily, Tim Shanahan, who is the broadcaster, or not the broadcaster, the photographer of the Navy teams, was able to get video of this because, unfortunately, the video on the Brigade Sport Complex a little bit too zoomed in that we couldn't see Beatrice Garvey 9 seconds into the frame. A win by Tess Clark back to Garvey. Garvey just takes it in all the way through the defense and goes backhand for her 4th of the season and the game winner. Tess Clark's 13th of the year, 13th assist of the year. Navy wins this one by a score of 3-2. Deanna Perveroto gets her 17 saves in the win, while Molly Hillier makes 41 saves in the defeat. And this all goes into the DVCHC playoffs this weekend, which will start on today, Friday. It will be Maryland as the 6th seed. They'll take on the 3rd seed, Rowan. And then the winner of that, it'll be all reseeded after that. Navy gets the 2nd overall seed, so they get a push right into the semifinals. And they will take on the higher seed from Friday between Rowan, Maryland, Delaware, and Villanova. They won't play Maryland because they won't be the higher seed. So Rowan, Delaware, or Villanova. And then Liberty, who's the top seed, they will play the lowest seed. All that. So Maryland could face Liberty in that. And then the championship game on Sunday. If you're up in the Aston area, go ahead, check it out. Always good hockey to be had for sure. And the top teams in this, all these teams have been super competitive this year. So we will see how it all pans out. Plus, Mission is free, but they're also accepting arts and crafts donations for the Caitlin Smiles Foundation, a foundation that helps children with serious health challenges explore creativity through arts and crafts. So always a good time when you can help those kids out there and let them express their full self. So go up there to Aston, donate your time up there, donate some arts and crafts, enjoy some good hockey, and we'll talk all about it here next weekend. Same with the women's game. We will go to Stevenson as they had 2 games this weekend, and one was a makeup for that. Unfortunately, on Friday, their last home game was not a fun time overall as they took on Arcadia. Arcadia, one of the top teams in the MAC. And Stevenson drops this one 4-1. Started off with Chloe Maxson getting the scoring started for Arcadia on the power play with under 7 minutes left in the first. And then Ava Glab makes it 2-0 for Arcadia, 2:08 in. Carly Barwick would get Stevenson on the board and cut that lead in half, as a couple chances after a point shot from Kira Otto, and then a couple hacks at it for Barwick, and she knocks it in, makes it 2-1. Kira Otto and Maggie Dean getting assists. That's as close as Stevenson would come, as 39 seconds later, Mackinson gets her 2nd of the game to make it 3-1 for Arcadia, and then an empty net goal with 5 minutes remaining in the third from Haley Koss makes it 4-1, and that would be your final for Stevenson. And Emily Carson making 40 saves in this one in the loss there. They would have one more game up at Lebanon Valley as they took on Lebanon Valley College, a makeup from the Blizzard game from January. And Stevenson actually, gets on the board first on this one, and it took only 30 seconds in. Emma DeMann decides to get a nice little redirect after Megan Croyle goes for a little skate, puts it on. DeMann gets the tip. In the net it goes to make it 1-0. Stevenson, Jalen Jones getting the secondary assist on that. But on the power play for Lebanon Valley, Anna Dale ties this one up, 5:56 in, and that's where we would be after one tied up. 6:36 into the second, DeMann getting her 2nd of the night as a face-off win. Back to Carly Barwick, gets stopped, but DeMann crashes in the net, puts it in, 2-1 for Stevenson. Then Addie Alolia gets on the board, ties it up at 2 midway through the second period, and that makes it a 2-2 score. Then Addie Aloui gets Lebanon Valley tied up at 2, and then shortly after that, DeMann finishes off her hat trick as she taps in a puck that, first off, Abby Smith rifles it from the point, gets redirected by Kylie Chandler, and it squeaks through the goalie's pads, just sits there in the crease, and DeMann decides to poke it in, and away they go. And it's 3-2 for Stevenson. That's where they would be going into the third, and then 3:36 in. Kiana Baker makes it 4-2 for Stevenson as Carly Barwick makes this one a meal as she just drives down the left side, throws it in front. Baker taps it in. A little bit of discussion to see if there was goaltender interference at all. Referees did not have definitive proof of it. 4-2 for Stevenson, but then Addie Aloui decides to take over the show. First, 9:15 into the frame, makes it 4-3. Then on the power play with about 5 minutes to go, ties it all up, and then 3:13 in overtime ends it. 3 straight goals, 4 on the night, and Stevenson drops this one in overtime to end their season. Maggie Sinnert with 43 saves, but unable to get the dub there. And that is the end of the season for Stevenson. They fall out the playoffs by a bit. Unfortunately, a slow start to their season kind of did them in. Got things going towards the second half of the season, but not enough to catch for the top 4 in the MAC. We'll do a post-mortem at the end of the season and figure that whole thing out when everyone else is kind of done, and then go from there. The Hood women also in action this weekend. Unfortunately, they missed the playoffs by a couple points as well. So, a valiant effort this season, a above 500 season, both in conference play or trying to get that in conference play, but overall above 500 season. Well, it was in conference play, too. They would get that because, unfortunately, they dropped this one 3-2 to Wilkes, who is the top team in the MAC. Hood gave them some problems. And 43 seconds in, Sophie Ancona, who's been giving a lot of teams problems, she gets her unassisted goal. Just a turnover at the blue line, picks it up at the blue line, drives down the right side, just throws it on net from the side, on the goal line, and it goes in as Ancona just keeps it going all alone. And we're going away. Hood is up 1-0, but with 5:10 remaining in the frame, Haley Bouchard for Wilkes gets it, ties it up at 1, and then 2:55 into the second, she makes it a 2-1 score for Wilkes on her goal. But the power play doing wonders for Hood as they would get one 6:58 into the frame with Renetta Petrella coming off the half wall. Patience, rips it home. Petrella puts Hood even with Wilkes, Dakota Ormiston, and Olivia Sharkowski getting the assist there. But unfortunately, just past the midway point, Polena Tehena gets the goal for Wilkes, makes it 3-2. Hood could not get the equalizer through the third period, and it would end 3-2 with Maggie Gravala making 43 stops in this one. And like I said, Hood missing the playoffs by a couple points, but a huge season for their second season. No sophomore slump there, as Hood really does a great job this season. And again, we'll do kind of a year in review for them in the coming weeks there. Shipping over to the men's side, Stevenson had their last game against Arcadia happen, and they took it to Arcadia in a big way. Trying to secure a playoff spot, they had a huge first period, and it starts off with Matt Go with 3:50 into the frame. Great pressure by the forecheck, causes a turnover. Carson Galen gets it over to Jack Day. Jack Day to go, and Go just goes into the back of the net for a nice little backside one-timer. 1-0 Stevenson early. Then 3 minutes and 9 seconds later, Aiden McDowell gets on the board. A great forecheck again, creates pressure, creates a neutral zone turnover. Puck goes behind the net. Galen gets it out to McDowell. McDowell just rips it home to make it 2-0. Matt Go with another assist, or with an assist on that to go with his goal. And Stevenson up 2-0. Wouldn't end there with 1:09 remaining. Blake Benson gets a rebound off a great set play. Wins the faceoff to Masella. Masella puts a shot on. Rebound comes out to Benson. Benson puts it home. It is 3-0 for Stevenson. They're rolling right along, but Arcadia would get one 4:14 into the second as Matthew Verspeten gets the Arcadian Crusaders, I guess they are. Their big Knights helmet. They get them on the board 3-1, but both teams struggle to find in the back of the net until Benson again with 33 seconds remaining puts it into an open net, ends the game, gives Stevenson the number 2 seed in the MAC, and gets them a big win. Lewis Finnegan with 21 saves in the victory for Stevenson there. So they'll go off to the MAC playoffs. They'll take on Wilkes in the 2-3 game on Friday, I think it is. Yeah, or Friday or Saturday. Let's see right here, because we do have the wonders of actually, having the website right in front of us. It'll be Saturday, 3 p.m. at the Reisterstown Sportplex. So if you have the time and the availability, go ahead and cheer on Stevenson as they will go for the MAC title, the semifinal there, and then the championship is on next Saturday. Navy had one last venture up to Rhode Island as they took on the Rhode Island Rams as they were jockeying for position in this one. It started off well for Navy. Andrew Pensha gets his 11th of the year from Patrick Laughlin, his 22nd assist of the season, puts him up 1-0. But Zach Gold, late in the frame, gets Rhode Island even with his 6th of the season. However, Benny Wald, with 1 minute and 24 seconds left, he gets his 2nd of the year from Patrick Laughlin, his 23rd. Butler Cheson's 12th assist, and Navy is up 2-1. However, it's unfortunate as Rhode Island gets 3 goals in a matter of 1 minute and 2 seconds, or 32 seconds, from Jacob Lopes, Nathan Marshall, and Shane Mulhern to make it a 4-2 score. At that point, Mason Rudin would stop the bleeding a little bit late in the frame, 54 seconds left. He gets his 5th of the year from Jack Tuchel's 6th assist, Doug Carr's 5th assist. It is 4-3 going into the third. Rhode Island just kind of dominated that second period overall. And then Butler Cheson ties the score up with his 11th, Patrick Laughlin with his 11th of the year. Butler Cheson gets the assist, his 13th of the season. And we are tied up, but a late power play does Navy in as Jarrett Weissert gets his 7th of the year, and that puts a bow on it for Rhode Island. They shut it down after that. Navy drops this one 5-4. Balin Smargazi gets a 30 saves in the defeat. But fortunately, another time around, they can do it all over again. But again, unfortunately, not able to do that as Jarrett Weisser picks up where he left off on Friday, gets his 8th of the year to open the scoring, but Sean Milanete gets his 12th of the season. Jason Fisher's 12th assist late in the first period to tie it all up. But in the middle of the second, Dominic Ivaida gets his 4th of the year for Rhode Island. That puts them up 2-1. Navy was out shooting Rhode Island in the second period, but could not find that equalizer. Weissert again, 5:35 into this third period, gets his 9th of the season to make it a 2-goal game. With under 5 minutes left, Andrew Pensha gets his 12th of the year from Patrick Laughlin with his 24th assist to close the lead to within 1, but Ryan Barlow would get his 4th of the year late and into the empty net. And that's all that she wrote on that one. 4-2 the final for Rhode Island as Gavin Beal makes 32 saves in the loss. So Navy will take on Villanova in the ECHA playoffs in the 3-6 matchup. That will all take place at Villanova. Or sorry, it's going to be at the Steel Center or whatever the heck it is in Pennsylvania. They're all played in the same area. They'll have the quarterfinals and semifinals on this weekend and the championship next weekend there. So Navy will look to as a 6th seed to shock the world a little bit, and we will see how they fare going in, and if we can talk about them a little more as the season goes on. They won't go into the ACCHA. That has been determined already. So this is the leave it all out there. You got maybe 2 weekends left, so we will see how Navy fares from there. Towson not going to be in the playoffs as they're going to play out the rest of their season here. They took on TCNJ this weekend, and TCNJ pretty much dominated the first 40 minutes. Although Towson kept it close in shots, could not find the back of the twine for that one. As through 2 periods, Towson was down 6-0. Josh Kushner gets his 16th. Colin Helkowski gets his 7th. Kyle Gregory's 11th. Logan May's 6th. Kyle Gregory his 12th and 13th. Made it that way. And then Caleb Amadon for Towson gets them on the board. Breaks the shutout with his 8th of the year. Just a rebound off his own shot. And puts it home for his 8th. Nathan Johnson gets the assist for the outlet pass. But that's as close as Towson would get. They dropped this one by a count of 6-1. Luke Schwab making 34 saves in the losing effort. But they had another chance to do things and make things work on Saturday night against Villanova. But that did not go as planned either. Villanova wins this one 10-2 as Keegan Jensen gets a shorthanded goal, 6:46 into the second period. That made it a 6-1 score for Villanova. Jensen's 15th all alone. And then James Harwood made it 10-2 late in the frame. His 29th of the year. Jeremy Wilson's 30th assist. Ryan Conaway's 4th assist. And it was all bad from there. So 10-2. Towson gets outshot 58-21. Sean Knutson gets hung with the loss. He makes 39 saves. And then Anthony Brooks gets in there for the last 8 minutes and 38 seconds and does his thing. And there you go. Towson is 10-2. They're supposed to play against Lehigh. That was canceled for the impending weather, and also because Lehigh clinched home ice already and probably didn't want to get any of their guys injured in a nothing game by and large. So season's over for them, and we will see. We'll kind of go back in this because Towson kind of the post-mortem often is a little bit the same. But anyway, we will get into that here later on in a future episode. On the D3 side of things, the ACCHL playoffs for D3, or at least one D3, the Commissioner's Cup happened last weekend. There's another playoff going on this weekend we'll talk about here in a minute. Georgia Southern took on UMBC in the opening round, and they won 6-3 to Georgia Southern. Johns Hopkins got a bye into the semis. They took on Georgia Southern, and they beat Georgia Southern 6-3. And then Hopkins takes out North Florida 6-4 to win the ACCHL Commissioner's Cup. A huge moment for that team, just powering through, doing what they do. So a huge congratulations to them, the home of one of the first school-sponsored teams in the NCAA, bringing the NCAA hockey about, and then kind of fell off after like the turn of the century in the 1900s. So unfortunate for them overall. Navy, their D3 beat Salisbury 7-1 in their final regular season game, while the Terps took out Stevenson 5-2, and then UNH, University of New Hampshire, beat Loyola 7-6. Now, Loyola took on Navy in the first round of the other ACCHL D3 playoffs. Took them out 5-1, so Loyola moves on this weekend. We will get back to them for their further advancement in the weekend next week. So there you go. There's the D3 as we're winding down, and we will get you up to date with all their things and everything from there as it happens. Let's get to some players. And Sam Annis, again, continues on and on and on and on. A goal and 4 assists over the last 3 games, as that adds to his total. Puts him at 28 goals and 77 points in 59 games for Dynamo Minsk. He will be better than a point-per-game player this season. And Dynamo Minsk winning 2 of those 3 games, losing in a shootout on the Saturday game against Yaroslavl. Micah Berger had a goal and an assist on Saturday as Yale unfortunately drops to St. Lawrence, so he factored into both goals for Yale. Puts him at 7 goals and 9 assists for 16 points in 28 games, surpassing his points total from last season. So an improvement in his second season there at Yale. Eric Charpentier had an assist as Dartmouth beat RPI on Friday night, giving him his 9th assist of the season, 13th point of the year in 23 games for the alternate captain out there in Dartmouth. Manny Cipolla had a big 2-goal game on Saturday night, but Merrimack unfortunately drops it to UConn 5-3. But Cipolla gets her 3rd and 4th of the year, puts her at 4 goals and 8 points overall in 35 games with the Merrimack College squad. Lacey Eden, what more can you say? 5 points on Saturday, 3 points on Monday. I'm sure that's supposed to be Sunday. But 4 goals, 4 assists over the 2 games, putting her to 27 goals and 68 points in 34 games. Wisconsin wins back-to-back again, and they're getting some of their Olympians back here for the end of the season. So that team is going to be just down deadly. Patrick Giles had a goal on Wednesday night as San Jose, the Barracuda, beating the Calgary Wranglers. Gets him his 6th of the year, 12th point of the year in 44 games. For the Chevy Chase, Maryland native, and you're not. Dimitri Kibru had a goal on Saturday and assist on Friday, but University of Alaska Anchorage drops both games to the Alaska Fairbanks in that one. Kebrew, his second goal of the season, his fifth assist of the season, working through injuries all year for 7 points through 15 games this season. Sean Kilcullen had an assist on Saturday for UMass Lowell, but they dropped that one 8-2. It's his fifth assist of the season. 8th point of the year in his 31st game with the Riverhawks. So a big bounce back for him this season after a couple tumultuous ones, I would say, in the early going for him, but he's bouncing back in his junior season. Luke Rubin had a goal on Saturday for Elmira, but they drop one to Rochester 5-3, puts him at 5 goals on the year, 6 points in 27 games this season in the NA. Grace Campbell and BC had themselves a weekend as they get a big 2 wins out of the weekend. 5-2 over New Hampshire to start off with on Friday. 25 saves for Campbell, and then 24 for 24 against their rivals in BU for a big shutout for BC. Puts Campbell at 15-17-1 with a 2.66 goals against, the 927 save percentage, and her 4th shutout of the year. So daps and head taps to her for that. And a little shout to James K. Williams, or Jake Williams, as he likes to be referred to, I think. At least that's what they have him right here. So they have him right here on the Elite Prospects, as he's playing at SUNY Fredonia, and he has got into a couple games so far this season, one including this weekend against former Maryland Black Bear Thomas Toth and Hobart, who is just, Hobart College is just a murderous machine out there. But Williams getting into some gameplay. No record to show for it, but 379 goals against, 857 save percentage. Getting some work in for the Crofton, Maryland natives. So shout out to him for that. That's pretty cool. I mean, when you get into college, I mean, why not, right? It's all pretty solid overall. He does have some family in there, and Christian Williams is playing with the Potomac Patriots in the USPHL. He's got a goal in 27 games. Big defenseman there, 6'11", big. So, I mean, obviously he's going to be kind of stopping things. So, shout out to them, and shout out to their sister Faith Williams as well. She plays for the RMU, Robert Morris University D2 team out there. So, shout out to her who's up there. So, yeah. Good time all around for everybody. The Williams family doing pretty dang good for themselves with the kids in the hockey and moving forward. All kinds of fun stuff happening there. But that'll do it for us. We've done it again. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good week. We'll be coming back with some playoff action. Hopefully extended another week with some championship action the week after. But we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. Until then, I'm Scotty Wazz. Take care of yourself and someone else. This has been Chesapeake Hockey Week, part of the Face Off Hockey Show Media Faction and Podcast Monsters. You guys have a great rest of your week. Play that clutch and crab hockey when you can. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time through. Peace.